This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, what we discussed in the last session, can you please tell me, guys? Brief for 5 minutes quickly.
We discussed about that Mule event when a project.
Yes, quickly, please give.
So
We discussed about Mule
there is a
event.
source and the process. Source will take.
Okay, otherwise I will ask a question, you can answer, guys. Okay. So what is an inbound endpoint in this case, in this use case?
HTTP listener.
HTTP message.
Pardon?
HTTP listener.
HTTP listener.
HTTP listener, right? So where we configure that listener or inbound, we cannot tell as in generally all sources are listeners. No, in file module, file on your update and read, all these are part of an inbound endpoint because which is accepting the request into the flow, right? So what is the responsibility of this listener here in this case?
It will take your HTTP request and then convert into the source.
Mule event.
Mule
Event.
Mule event, right? So what is the structure of a mule event?
It consists
Mule
of Mule
message
event,
and variables.
payload,
Payload
and
and
then
variables.
Perfect. So mule message and a variables. It's a structure. In that message again I have a attributes and a payload. So finally, if anyone knows what is the structure of a mule event, attributes, payload, and the
Payload and variables.
So those are the empty structure as of now, which is coming to the, which I kept in the
HTTP
internal
listener.
memory queue internally from the HTTP listener, right? Now, what is the configuration I can do in order to set some value to the payload, to the incoming event? What is the component?
Set payload transform.
Set payload.
Set payload?
Transformer.
Set payload transformer. See, it's set payload comes under a transformer family. That's why I called set payload transformer, right? Otherwise, you can call simply set payload, right? Set payload connector. So in that set payload connector, what we are writing in order to set some value to that payload, incoming payload.
Data view
function.
Or else we can write simply text also, right? Of course, I'm not writing any data view. We can write a data view. What is the syntax to write a data view?
Hash square brackets.
Square brackets.
Hash and square bracket. My runtime cable is able to understand while it is running the application. If any data present in the hash and square bracket, it would be called as a data view. The data present in that called as a data view expression, right? So that is the language name which you are going to use going forward in our program. Data view transformation language, right? Or is data view expression language. Previously there was a Mule expression language also. That was disconnected in a Mule 4. Got it? Next. Okay, at the end of the flow, how my client is able to get the data, what data he is going to get.
Data na.
How he will get the data and what data he will get in this case. If I set hello world as a payload value, what is the output he is going to get by default and how? Srihari, background noise. Yes, please. Under that I explained. You can see the picture and you can observe. See, this is what I explained is very, very important in order to move forward. That's why I'm spending a lot of time here. Please utilize the time.
He's going to get
message. Success. It is success. My flow is success. Not helping. Yes. How my client is able to, client means a postman in this case. If I send a request from the postman, client is the postman. So what is the response he is going to get on his body? That means on the postman body.
He's going to get hello world.
Success response.
Hello world. He's going to get a hello world. How?
Hello world. Because we are setting hello world in the set payload transformer, right?
Okay. Okay. That means what?
So that will map to HTTP response, right?
Exactly.
So
That's what
HTTP
correct.
response will have payload, right? So it will hello world go and place the payload. So that
Excellent.
payload is returning to the
Body of the client.
body of the postman. So it will
Client.
get displayed hello world.
Perfect. The thing is, at the end of the flow, whatever the event structure, that event structure is given to the listener, right? In that listener, there is a tab called responses. Under the responses, we have a two blocks again. One is success, one is error response. If it is success, by default, the body is configured to payload. If it is error, just give me a minute. Your vendor is calling me. Guys, 1 minute. Guys, 1 minute. Sorry, some candidates are missing the meeting ID. That's why the vendor called me. Sorry for the trouble. Yeah, where I stopped? Yeah, the response step. If it is success, automatically it will throw the success response. That means the body by default is configured to payload, right? So hope everyone understood this structure. I mean, if you understand this, remaining entire flows are on the same platform. That means it will be very easy to you, right? So hope everyone who all are confirmed for this batch, hope everyone downloaded that folder which I have given.
Yes, Sujit. We have downloaded
Only,
and keep it.
only downloading.
Hello?
Is it done?
Yeah,
Only downloading.
downloaded. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
now what about this?
Yeah.
What about this?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Sujit.
sir.
Download.
Yes.
Yes,
This is
sir.
the folder I'm talking about. This is the folder I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Everyone? Okay. And anyone there who went advanced and installed Anypoint Studio? Not installation. Anyone opened Anypoint Studio till now? Anyone created?
Yes.
No, Sujit.
Okay, okay, no problem. And what is the version, guys, you are using? You are using 7.5.1 or 7.8. Which version you are using? The latest one is 7.8. I will not prefer that because still the testings to be done, everything to be done. Anyone having 7.6 or 7.7 and 7.5, anything is same. Anything you can use. Okay. Of course, I have 7.5.1. I'm using that. Okay. Let me use that. So first thing, in order to write your logic, where you will write what is the IDE we use, Anypoint Studio. Okay. From where you can download. Did I show from where you can download from the website? Did I show that on the day, previous day? No. Yes.
No, Sujit.
No, no,
Let-
Sujit.
Go to the browser and just type for download. Okay. Click on the first link. They will tell that 30 days free trial. No worries. Whenever you try to extract the zip file, from there it will start the day one, right? No need to worry. Still it is loading. Today my internet speed is a little bit slow. Yeah, here you can see, select the operating system which you are using. I prefer Windows only for the training purpose at least, because 99% of people will be having Windows. My training also conducted on a Windows only. If you have a Mac, at least for training, please borrow some Windows machines, or you can use the VMs as well, right? Select the operating system and select the agreement and click on a download. Once you download it, you will be getting a folder like this. I mean zip file like this, Anypoint Studio zip file, right? Now, if you are using from the folder which I have given, small suggestion, take this zip file out of this folder and keep it on your desktop. Based on the experience, based on the issues I got from the students, I'm just telling small tips here. Please take this zip file, take it on the desktop and extract there. Okay, otherwise it will create a path issues while you are opening the Anypoint Studio. Okay, that is a small suggestion. Take this zip file outside and extract there. Right, now let me extract here. Right click on that and please use WinRAR. My suggestion is please use WinRAR tool to extract the zip files. Right, I'm using WinRAR. I just extracting here. It will create one structure, Anypoint Studio structure. Once it got extracted, I will open that. See, nowadays all Anypoint Studio versions are coming with the open JDK. Okay, if just check on the day I told you, right, whether JDK is present in your machine or not. How to check? Command prompt java space hyphen version. This is the version, right? I mean it will support 1.8 or 11 versions of your JDK. Okay, why we require JDK? I already explained about it. Why we require JDK? First of all, what is JDK?
It is developed by Java.
Developed
Yeah.
in Java.
Java
Yes.
development kit. That means what?
Yes.
Behind the scenes, all our Mule applications are Java applications because they're designed by using a Java, right? So in order
Yes.
to develop your application, Java application, we require a Java development kit. Okay, don't get panicked. We are not going to write classes here. Okay, I can see many panic faces there, right? So don't get panicked. Behind the scenes, it's a Java. That's why we require a JDK, right? So this is the structure of Anypoint Studio. You will be getting an application Anypoint Studio. Okay, this is an executable file. One more thing you need to remember, it is not installing on your OS. Okay, it is not installing, it's an application. Always the workspace, whatever the applications you are creating, it will be stored in your local folders. That means the workspace which you located. I will show you how to locate that as well. So right now I am going to execute this executable file. Before that, if your Anypoint Studio is not coming with the open JDK, previously we used to set up some environment variables. How to set up some environment variables? Very easy. Just follow the steps here. If you are installing, if your JDK is installed on your machine, go to the JDK where it is installed. By default, it will be there in the C drive program files. Sorry. In that Java, okay, there is a folder called Java. In that we have a JDK. Don't go with the JRE. Okay, JDK. Once you open the JDK, we have a JRE also in that Java runtime. Once you develop your application, we require to run that application, Java application. So JRE also required. That's why it is given in this JDK itself. Now in that JDK, just go to the bin folder where we have some executable files. Take the path. Take the JDK bin path. Now on this PC, right click on this PC, properties. What we are doing, we are setting some environment variables. What are that environment variables? Advanced system settings. You can come to this page by using a control panel also. Under this advanced, you can see environment variables. So two windows. One is user level variable and system level variable. at a system level variable, ensure that there is something called path variable. If it is not existing, please click on a new path, and that path should point to whatever the path you copied. That means it should point to bin path in your JDK. Click on OK. If it is already existing, path variable is already existing, if you're not pointing to that, click on edit option and click on a new bin. By using this move up option, please take it to the first line. It should be a point to the first line, right? That is the first setting. After that, user level variables, going forward, we are going to see how to use the standalone runtime. For the standalone runtime, we required Java underscore home as a path again. If it is already existing, okay. Otherwise, click on a new Java underscore home. That means your runtime will look into this environment variables where it is pointing to. It should point to not bin, it should point directly to the JDK, not to the bin folder. Okay, these are the two environment variables you need to set up. Okay, once you set all this, then open the Anypoint Studio. How to open the Anypoint Studio? And this Anypoint Studio folder, execute this application. See, I'm telling step by step here. I don't want anyone to get confused. Once the setup and once you run one application, remaining things are falls under the same. See, within the versions, within 7.1, 7.6, 7.5, very minor changes will be there. If you can use 7.7 or 7.8, there is no problem. If you have any I will be showing in 7.5. If you are doing on 7.8, if you feel any differences, please let me know. I will explain. Why I'm using 7.5? Because I have not seen many changes in a 7.6 or 7.7. That's why I'm continuing with this 7.5 only. And if I feel major changes, then I'll explain about that new version only. Because I need to work entire all the projects, what are there in my workspace and all. First, I need to test, right? That is the reason. First time it, okay, in order to load all the metadata present in that jar files present in that studio. The studio is a little bit heavy file, and already I said you required minimum 8 GB, minimum of 8 GB, but actually MuleSoft suggested 16 GB RAM, but everywhere will not have 16 GB RAM on their machine. So minimum 8 GB is also fine. 8 to 16 is fine, right? And Windows 10 machine, right? And I think already I told all these configurations. Configuration wise, we need to have at least i5 processors. i5 in a sense 2.2 gigahertz processors. Where you can check all this in your properties. Now you can see mine is i7 processor, 1.8 to 1.9, at most 2 gigahertz, and what is a 16 GB RAM size. Okay, this is where you can check. Mine is Windows 10. Okay.
Yes, Sujit. 4 GB RAM is not work.
No. You need to expand it minimum to 8.
Yeah. SSD also is available. It's not.
SSD is only for this one, right? Drive. I mean, it's directories, not for the booting. Booting will happen only. Your application will be in a C drive, right?
Okay.
That is different. SSD is help in a booting device.
Yeah.
Ensure that please have minimum 8 GB RAM.
Okay, first I will try. It's not working means I will expand.
Actually, 8 GB also not sufficient. It will check your patience level, but 4 is not recommendable only.
Okay.
Try though. If at all it's working fine, otherwise, you can expand it. Okay. Yeah. So once I open this, you can see Anypoint Studio Launcher. This is the window. Anyone here who already worked on Eclipse IDE? Anyone here? Eclipse.
Yes.
I'm getting very such kind of a voice. which is not active. Who is this? I don't know. Only one person? No one else on Eclipse IDE? Okay, that's fine. Not a big is why I asked. This Anypoint Studio is totally developed based on Eclipse plugins. If you already worked on any Eclipse IDE, it may be the, I mean, you can see the similarities between Eclipse IDE and the Anypoint Studio IDE. IDE means what? Integrated Development Environment. Okay. Now we can see Anypoint Studio launcher. That means it is launching the Anypoint Studio. And what is a workspace? What do you mean by workspace? Whatever the project you are creating, okay, it will be stored under the location. Which location? You can give the location. So I'm just ensure that means my suggestion is don't everyone will use the same workspace by default workspace. Please don't use that. Everything system is configured there and your workspace also configured under Anypoint Studio also. No, please use some other drive. If you have some other drives in your machine, please use the drives. I'm using F drive. In my F drive, I'm creating a new folder with a name, one of the batch person name. I can use Bharat name. This is in the starting. Bharat and 7:30 AM. Okay, it is a habit to me to create a folders with the batch names so that I cannot confuse. So this is the folder where my all the projects what I'm going to create will be stored, right? Now I'm giving this location. Immediately go to the F drive and check F drive. This is the folder which I created. Immediately I got a dot meta. What do you mean by dot metadata? Metadata means what? Metadata means what?
About it. Data about data.
About the data about itself, right? So here dot metadata. What do you mean by that? It is talking about itself. That means how this Anypoint Studio is created. Just now I told based on what plugins? Eclipse plugins, right? Now you can see this is the welcome screen. Still it is getting open. Yeah, this is the welcome screen of your Anypoint Studio. One more screen I need to get. That's what I'm waiting for. See, minus 16 GB. Still it is taking some time. Yeah, this is the welcome screen here. Anypoint Studio, right? Click on to Studio. Yeah. Now this is the screen. Yeah, someone already worked on Eclipse. Who is that? May I know the name?
Venkat.
Shiva.
Shiva. Yes.
Okay, Venkat Shiva. Yes, Shiva. Have you seen the similarities? If you already worked on similar kind of a structure? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. On left side, see, I'm going to extend every point here. Please try to understand, right? So this is the menu options under the file. By using it, we can do many things, right? If you can create a Mule project, domain project, Java project, packages, interfaces, classes, everything we can create. RAM and differential also we can create. At the same time, if you want to create a Mule project, there is a shortcut given. Okay, these features are recently added, and a few shortcuts as given. Now, if you want to create a project, I can click on a create a Mule project or else file new Mule project. Both are same. Fuel new Mule. Now, I will explain each and everything. Yeah, this is the screen. Just give the project name. I'm just giving a 01 demo as the project name. So runtime, on which runtime I want to deploy this project. See, by default, I got 4.3.0 enterprise edition, right? How I got this one? Did I select it anywhere? Do I need to, I mean, I want to have runtime on my studio. Did I create it or selected anywhere? How I got this? Yes.
The current version is Mule 4.3 only. That's why it is.
Whenever they are releasing an Anypoint Studio at that point of time, what is the version, latest version of a server that will be given as a plugin to your Anypoint Studio. Right now 4.3 is given as a plugin embedded runtime to your Anypoint Studio, right? So if you want some other runtimes, the older versions, then click on install runtimes. Under that, Anypoint Studio Enterprise runtimes, expand that. See, these all are the plugins. You can see the plug symbol as well. From 4.1.1 till 4.3, all the versions are given. Of course, 4.3 already given. That's why you can see the change in the icon as well, right? Because already it is added. And if you want to add one more, click on select that one, click on next and finish. It will take some time. That's why I'm not doing that, right? Yes. Okay. Once you select that, that means once you install that, it will be listed in the runtime options. Right now I have only one. That's why it is selected. Selected means this blue color background. That is one. That is nothing but a selection option. Once you install one more, while you're doing a practice, please install one more runtime and you can deploy your application. You can specify on which runtime you want to deploy your application. Okay. Right now I'm going with the default one, 4.3. And about this API implementation, I will talk in the last. That means when I'm discussing about a banking application, how to import from the exchange or from the local file or from the design center. Because I need to talk about a design center, what is the publishing option, all these things I need to talk before this, right? Next, project location. By default, all the projects will be located under the default location what we are given, right? If you want to change, unhighlight it and click on a browse. Simple. Click on finish. Did I give any task to work on some project? To know about some project? Maven project. Did I give a task to go through that in this weekend? I think so. See, when I asked
No,
about
Sujit.
task, no one is responding.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No?
No, Sujit.
No, sir.
You told to install that folder. You dropped a mail like
Just
that.
Okay, no problem. No problem. How many of you are aware of Maven here? Maven.
sorry.
Aware of the sense basic stuff.
Just I know the Sujit. That's it. I
Basic
don't
enough.
know.
Basic enough. What is what enough? Okay, what is a Maven? What is a
It will
Maven?
give
It's a build
default
tool,
structure
right?
of the. Okay.
It's a build tool. Point taken. That is why you can see on the left side package explorer. Once I create a project, did I created all these structures? This folder,
No,
everything? No. How I
default
got
will
it by
come.
default?
Due to
How I got?
Package itself, it will come.
How it will come? Okay, how it will come?
When you are creating that demo project in the separate location, so by default the supported files will be created.
That's what how it is getting created. I know that. I mean, we are saying that how it is creating. What is the structure it is using? That's my
Yeah,
question.
we have installed Maven into our system, right? In our system.
Not installed. I have not installed that.
Okay. So
Of
by
course, the
default, we
point is
have
correct. The point is correct. This is not a structure. Is it not a structure of Maven? It is a structure of Maven. So by default, all Mule 4 projects are Maven projects. No need to explicitly install a Maven. By default, it along with the Anypoint Studio itself, right? So by default, all Mule 4 projects are Maven projects. That means what? Whenever you create a Mule project in a studio, automatically it is a Maven project. That means it is using a Maven as a build tool. It's a build tool. It is having this is the structure of a Maven project, right? So what it contains? SRC main mule. That means what? Source main mule. You can see the flows in the bracket. All the mule flows, whatever the logic you are going to write, it will be created under this SRC main mule. Then if you expand that, what is this file? It's a mule configuration file. That means mule configuration XML. Everything behind the scenes is an XML. Why XML? Is there any idea? Why only configuration XML? Everything is in XML format. Yes. What is the language it is my Mule application is using behind the scenes to develop application?
RAML language.
RAML.
ML supports
No. My question is, what is the behind the
Java.
scenes Mule applications are designed by? Yeah, what is that?
Wisdom.
Java.
Wisdom.
No, Wisdom, all these are APIs. You forget about that. Okay. By using a Java language.
Flows.
In the Java, what is the framework we are using here?
Spring.
Spring.
Framework. Spring means what? It's an XML file, right? Whatever you are going to see in this configuration XML is nothing but a Spring application, Spring XML. If you have some knowledge on a Spring, you can see under this, right? Next, we are not going to touch anything. We are not going to write any configurations in the XML file. Everything. Why Mule is so popular? Because of this option, message flow option. Everything, every connection we can drag and drop onto this message flow option. Okay, we'll talk about that. So all the Mule applications, Mule flows can be write under this XML file. How many XMLs I can create under this project?
N number of
Go to the orchestration concept, orchestration session, hierarchy, where we can write a flows. Where
in XML.
We can write flow in a XML, right? A flow contains how many parts?
A number of.
No. Understand the question. Flow contains how many parts? Source, process,
process and error handling.
Are you able to see that? This is the default flow. Source, process, and error handling. What you configure as source? All inbound endpoints.
Listeners.
You cannot specify as a listener all inbound endpoints. We should tell as all inbound endpoints. Of course, what you said is correct, but we should not specify it. Okay. Now, from where I got this flow, from where I wrote this flow, I mean, from where I drag and drop this flow, from the Mule
listener.
Mule palette. Where is the listener is coming into the picture here? Mule palette. What do you mean by palette? Where it contains some menu options like search in Exchange, add modules, favorites, core, HTTP. What do you mean by all this? See, Mule palette contains two parts. That means left side column and right side column. On the left side column, you can see, your left side column, what you can see, it's a menu options like search in Exchange. If you want to add any module to the project, okay, search in Exchange. By using a search in Exchange, you can add it. If it is not present under your Anypoint Studio, then only you can go with the search in Exchange. How can you identify whether the module is present at your studio level? If you click on add modules, so these are the modules present under a studio, right? See, very frequently used, they are given under the add modules. If you not find the module which you required, then you can go to the search in Exchange option. You can do it. I will show that part, how to go to the Exchange and how to create an account with an Exchange, all these things. Not Exchange, Anypoint platform, we will see that. Then favorites, very frequently used connectors are given under the favorites. Core, business components. So what is a business component in our program in this picture? Where we can write some logic. Set payload, right?
Yes.
So as I said, set payload is a part of a transformers family. Under this transformer, are you able to see a set payload? Yes. So core contains some business logic components. So what do you mean by HTTP and socket? By default, remember, whenever you create any Mule project, by default, these two modules are added as a dependency to your project by default, HTTP and a socket. Because previously, by default, your Mule applications are REST applications. REST means what? What is the official protocol to be used for REST applications? HTTP, right? So HTTP is given as a connector or dependency to your application. So this is called build path of your application. If you want to add any module to your project, so right now how many modules I have? HTTP and socket module are added as a dependency to your project. Suppose if you want to add file module to your project, simply drag and drop this file module to your left side. You can see here, drag and drop here to add a project. On the left side, are you able to see any file as of now? No, right? Let me drop onto this part, left side column. Automatically it will be added to your build path of your application. On the left side, you are able to see on the extreme right under the project file. Yes, that means if you remove this, automatically it will be removed, right? What do you mean by adding and removing it? It is adding a dependency to your project. What do you mean by dependency? What is this dependency? First of all, if you want to understand about that, you need to aware of Maven. That is the task for you for tomorrow. Please understand about a Maven. Please go through some YouTube channel and try to understand about what is the Maven, what is the heart of that Maven. Tomorrow I'm going to give an outline of a Maven project, but when I'm talking about that, you need to ensure that you have some knowledge on that so that you can connect, right? Okay, next, this is about a configuration XML. What it contains? 3 tabs: message flow, global elements. Practically I will talk, okay, theoretical, not theoretically. Message flow, global element, and the configuration XML. What contains this configuration XML? What and all the configurations you drag and drop into the message flow, and what are the configurations you are configuring in the global element will be written in the XML format. My Mule runtime will able to understand only this XML, not these graphical representations what you are writing in the message flow. So you need to give preference to message flow and the configuration XML in a same way, in a same ratio. Because when if you are anyone trying to attempt for the exam certification, in the certification they will give the face of this page. That means only the flow only. Okay. In that particular connector, what is the configuration we need? We have given. It is impossible to give the entire configuration step by step in the screenshot of the exam. So that's why what they have done, they have given the screenshot of the configuration XML. You need to identify what are the configurations you have done in that connector in this XML part itself. Okay, so you need to identify that. That's why I ask everyone to understand about XML. That's why I've given the prerequisites also. XML is the important one. At least you need to understand by seeing that XML, what is a root tag, what is a child tag, all these things. That's why I given as a prerequisite. Many of the training centers may tell not record anything as an prerequisite, but we record this XML. Okay. Next, come back. See, I just drag and drop the empty flow from the searching palette. See, if you're lazy like me, if you're not able to select from the modules, or if you're not able to select from the favorites for the business components, or from the core, whatever required the business component, go to the searching palette, search with a key. See, I use the set. With that set, what and all the connectors or modules are available, it will be listed. So simply drag and drop from here. That is the searching palette, right? So I just searched FLOW. I got some few other flows also. I required only empty flow. So that's why I drag and drop onto the canvas. This is called a canvas, okay, where you write a graphical representations. So in this canvas, I drag and drop the flow. By default, the flow name is created with the 01 demo flow. From where I got it? This is the project name. Sorry, this is the XML name. How I got the XML name? This is the project name by default, right? So if you want to change the name of the flow, simply select that, change the name. I'm just writing as a demo only. Automatically, if you go to the configuration XML here, what is the name? Is it changed? Once I changed here, yes, that's what. Once you drag and drop onto this canvas, whatever the changes you've done in this canvas, automatically updated into the configuration XML. Let me delete this flow. I'm selecting this and deleting that. Go to the configuration. Do I have any flow here? No. My point is automatically it will be updated in the XML file behind the scenes. Okay. Now this is about XML and configuration XML and everything. Now SRC main view, next folder. Oh, but before that, how many XMLs I can create under this SRC main view?
Number of X.
A number.
N
How
number
many
of
flows I can? How many flows I can write in this XML file?
N number.
Right? Yeah. Hope you understand the hierarchy now. Now, SRC main Java. If any developer has given a Java class to you and you want to invoke that class, invoke the methods present in a class by using a Java module, you need to place that class file under a SRC main Java, right? And SRC main resources. Your project is dependent on some external files like JSON file or XML file or any other file. You need to clip under the SRC main resources. So these three are a development environment. Next three are the testing environment. That means in your testing, If you want to write any test cases for your Java class, what you written here, you can use JUnit framework and you can write it. That test cases to be written in a SRC test Java. We are not going to write that. No need to worry. This is a by default structure. SRC test resources. If for your testing environment, if you require any resources like SRC main resources, testing environment also, you can place the resources here. SRC test MUnit. As I said, what is the framework we are going to write some test cases of your Mule application?
MUnit.
MUnit. Okay, MUnit. We can write by using an MUnit framework the test cases, and we can create a suits also for that. We have a separate session for that. As of now, HTTP and socket will be added as a default modules, and JRE, we require JRE because see the 7.5.1 also came along with the JDK, open JDK. That's why it is pointing to JDK. Okay, Java runtime environment, because we need to run the application, right? With this application we require JRE. So where we are going to deploy this application, what is the module, what is the connector I selected? Yeah, what is the runtime I selected while creating the project? No. 4.3. 4.3 is the runtime, right? My runtime is also nothing but a Java application, right? So we can see the jar files under that. Okay. And form.xml. What is this form.xml? Under SRC source, we can see. I will talk about this form.xml tomorrow. This is not the right time. Okay. Please ensure that have a Maven concept on your mind by tomorrow session. Right, this is outline not required. This is giving entire outline of your project not required. And MUnit, we have a separate session on that. We will discuss later about MUnit. And properties. What are the properties? If you drag and drop any of the connector, you can see related properties under this Mule properties tab. And if you project, what are the project you are creating, if you have any problems, you can see under the problems. On the right side, we have a palette. I explained about the palette. What else? Okay, that's it. Now let me create one small project here. So assume I'm using a Postman as a client, and by default my Mule applications are 8081/demo. Okay, what type of request it is? What type of request I'm getting into
HTTP
the
request.
HTTP request. So
HTTP.
under HTTP module, I have some connectors. Every module will have some connectors, right? So what is a connector? Why the name given as a connector? Yeah, name itself suggests connect. It will connect to the external applications, right? All connectors are part of, yes, all connectors are part of a module. Okay, HTTP is a connector or a module?
Connector.
No.
Module.
HTTP is a module which contains some connectors, right? So listener is a module or a connector?
Listen is a connector.
Listener is the connector. HTTP is a module.
Exactly. HTTP is a module. Under that we have some connectors. It's like a under that we have all these things. So first, what is the connector I need to use in order to listen to the incoming request? Yes, you need to tell listener, right?
HTTP listener.
Let me drag and drop this listener. Do I need to create any empty flow? Not required. My Anypoint Studio is such an intelligent, it will understand based on the connector whether it is a inbound or outbound, whether it's a processor or as a inbound endpoint. So if I drag and drop this onto the canvas, where it is going to be placed?
It will create a flow.
It create a flow and it will be dropped. It will be placed on a source. Right. Now I want to change the flow as demo. I'm just changing the flow name as demo. Now every connector will be having a connector configuration. Let me double click on this listener. You can see the properties of that listener, right? So every connector will be having a connector configuration. And display name is a listener. If you want to write anything, you can write it. It will be displayed here. And what are the basic settings? Connector configuration. See, if you want to add any new configuration, click on a plus sign. If already existing configuration, you can select from the drop down. right? If you want to edit the existing configuration, click on this edit option. Right now I don't have any, I'm just creating a new option. So what is the name of the listener? HTTP listener config. What is the protocol it is using? HTTP protocol, right? Because our Mule applications are REST applications and it is listening for the REST, HTTP request. So we require a HTTP. And what is the host? Assume that my Mule runtime is running on my local machine. So what is the host? Local host. 0000 represents what? Local host. You can select the name or IP number, both are same. And by default, as I said, HTTP listener is listening on which port? 8081. We can change it. I will show in a tomorrow session how to change it and all. Right? What is the base path? If anyone worked on a Tomcat container, if you know about that container, all the dynamic request. First of all, is it a dynamic request or a static request?
Is a static.
Dynamic? No, it's a dynamic, right? Dynamic. Slash represents a dynamic request. So by default, in the Tomcat container also you might have observed all the requests which are coming with this slash are routed to there are two containers in that Tomcat. One is static container, one is dynamic container. So all the dynamic requests are mapped to dynamic container based on a slash. Here also similar base path. What is the base path? See, I have configured HTTP localhost 8081. After that, what is the base path? By default, is a slash. If you are explicitly writing that or not writing that, by default, it will take this as a slash. So HTTP listener, HTTP is the protocol, localhost is the domain name, 8081 is the port number where my listener is listening, and all the dynamic requests are mapped to slash. Now, what is the general path for this application? See, what is the difference between a base path and a general path? Base path by default is a slash, right? What is general path? In a XML file, how many flows I can create?
N number of flows.
N number of flows. If I send this request, if assume that I have multiple flows, which flow will be triggered? Which flow will be executed if I give this request? It will be identified based on the path. Okay, every flow should have the unique path, or else, in other words, every flow will be uniquely identified by the path. Okay, you can use the same port number, you can use the same 8081 port number configuration for multiple flows, but every flow will be uniquely identified by the path only. Okay, this is the HTTP listener config. Now this HTTP listener, as I said just now, this listener configuration can I use across the project? Suppose if I want to write one more flow, one more listener I want to configure, can I use the same configuration, 8081 configuration? You can see here HTTP listener by default it is taking the connector configuration, which was not happened in the demo when I'm writing a listener, because that time I'm writing for the first time. Already whatever the configuration I have done here, it is acting as a global element. Global element means the global elements, what are, there are few components which are acting as a global elements. Those can be used across the project, not in the flows, not in the XML, across the project. That means what? We can create one more XML file. Under that, if you write one more listener, you can use the same configuration. See, what is the configuration I'm using in this flow? By default, if you click on that, 8081, right? That is the global element. But how to identify two different flows based on the path? Okay, tomorrow again I will talk about this in detail. As of now, I understand there is only one flow. Okay, we are running out of time. I need to execute that flow. So listener. Now, what is the responsibility of this listener here?
To listen HTTP request and in and outbound logic will be there.
Converting into event. HTTP listener will listen for the request, converting into event. So after this listener, what is the event structure right now? It's an empty attributes, payload, and variables. We cannot see the what you call channels Okay, just for understanding purpose, I have given in the picture. We are not able to see these channels. So what is the component I need to configure next in order to set some hello world as a value in that event payload?
Set payload.
Set payload.
From where I can get that
Mule palette.
palette? Very good. I'm just giving a set payload, drag and drop. If I drop here outside, it will create one more flow. Okay, not required.
Okay.
I need to drag and drop onto the process part. Right.
Okay.
So let me open that. Yeah, we can write display name like anything. Okay, it's up to you. And you can see this under the settings some value. What is this value is pointing to? There is a button, FX button. The background color is blue. Right now, that means what? It is in an expression mode. Okay, if you click on this again on FX, it is like a button. Okay, we can switch to literal mode. Literal mode means plain text mode, right? If you click on again expression mode, how I can tell this is an expression mode? You can see some syntax. What do you mean by this syntax?
Data
Data view.
Data view expression. Hash and square brackets represent a data view expression. So by default, I got a payload. What do you mean by payload here? As I said yesterday, payload is a keyword in a data view. Payload is a keyword in a data view. Before this set payload, what is the payload value? Before this set payload, understand my question clearly. Before this set payload component, if I configure as a payload as a keyword here, what it is going to extract? It's an empty, right? From the listener, I'm getting an empty structure, empty attributes, empty payload, empty variables. Why empty attributes? I'm not passing any attributes here. So it's an empty payload. Am I setting any payload here? Am I posting any data through body? I mean, am I setting any body through this postman? No, empty payload. That's why it's an empty, right? I'm not creating any variables as well. So right now, by using this set payload, what I want to do, I want to set some value. Right now, let me switch to literal mode. What is the value? Hello world. Okay, I'm setting this value as a payload value. So if I deploy this application, what is the output you are going to get on the postman?
Hello world.
Hello world. How? You can see at the end of the flow, the entire event is given back to the listener. In this listener, if I select the listener, you can see some tabs over here. Responses. Under the responses, if I select that, let me expand it. Just double click listener, automatically it will expand it. Once I expand that, there are two blocks. First block, second block. If your event is success, if there are no errors, the response will be displayed. What is the body? By default is an expression mode. That means it is extracting the payload value in the incoming event, right? And if it is having any exception, any error event is thrown, what is the body? Something is there. I will discuss that later part in exception handling. Okay, this is not the right time. So as of now, understand my flow is success. What is the body it is getting displayed? What is the payload? Body means payload. What is the payload it is getting displayed? Hello. That's what I said.
Hello world.
Right? Now I'm using a logger after this set payload. Right? I'm switching to the expression mode. I'm simply writing a payload. So why the logger is used? To log the information out of the console to the developer. See, the client, that the response given back to the listener, and listener is giving some body to the client. It is not displayed to you as a developer, right? Normally. That's why if you want to see what is the information given to the client, you can write on the logs. Okay. Now assume that I have created one application. At the end of the flow, what is the event that is given? You can see the arrow mark. Okay. Hope you understood. Now, how to deploy this application? Very simple. Right click on this XML, run the project. One option. Right click on this project, run as Mule application. One option. And if you want to pass any runtime arguments, Mule application configure. As of now, we will not use this. There is some other topics to discuss about. Right? Let me right click on this, run the project. Immediately you can see on the console Maven output. What do you mean by this? What are the logs you are getting displayed? These are server logs. That means your runtime is having some jar files, right? It is picking every file and it is getting executed. Okay. I will talk about all these logs, which is the runtime it is pointing to in the standalone runtime. Okay, what are these logs meant for? Okay, forgot to tell. Here you can see once you get cursor up. First we got Maven output build success. If you can observe, let me stop this. I forgot to show you that. And again I'm deploying. Here you can see Maven output and build success. What do you mean by that? You can see the build success here. Then it is getting deployed on a 4.3. What do you mean by this? What are the steps followed here? Yeah, whenever I click on a run project, internally first my application is getting built as a Maven project. Once the build is success, if there are no errors in your Maven project, once the build is success, then your runtime is getting started. Once your runtime is get started, then your application is getting deployed. Which application? 01 demo application is getting deployed 4.3 runtime. So everything is happening with a single click. Okay. Now, which project? In early stages, please check. Don't go blindly which application got deployed. There is a tendency that if you have multiple projects, your intention is to deploy 01 demo, but you may end up in deploying 02 demo. What you are trying for output, you will not get. Okay. In the starting stage, at least, please check what is the application you deployed, desired application or any other application. And domain. What is the domain? By default, all projects are deployed under a default domain. What is this domain? How to customize the domain? How to create your own domains? I will discuss in the later part. And what is the status? Deployed. That means what? See, these are the status for your runtime. Your server started, deployed means success status. And under that, once the runtime is started, your application also deployed under that. What is the status of your application? Deployed. That means what? Success. If you see the status as deployed, it's a success. If you see any, if you have any exception at your application level, the status will be failed. Okay. As of now, it is deployed. Let me give a request. What is the output you are expecting on the client's body? Hello world. How you got? From the listener response time. Since I wrote a logger, it is also giving some information. Payload value on the console. Okay. Tomorrow I will show you how to extract the attributes and how to set as a payload value, right? And I'm going to give a task tomorrow itself in the session. Please ensure that as per today's session, please ensure that have Anypoint Studio on your machine. Definitely everyone should have Anypoint Studio on your machines.
Sujit, one doubt for me. Here Postman we did not called right here.
We called
in
it, right?
Anypoint. Not here. In Anypoint Studio we did not.
What is the listener configuration then? What I explained till now. Same, no? What is the configuration here?
Port number. Okay, port number you have given. And it was been default. That's it, right? Local
host. Local host means my machine only.
Okay.
Got it? What is the listener path? Demo. That's the demo I have given.
Okay.
Yes. If I give any other path, example, no listener, because I don't have any flow with that path.
Okay. Okay.
Got it? Yeah.
Okay, understood.
Yeah. Please go through. See, one time by seeing in the session itself, we may not able to understand some people. Please go through the video one more time, and the task which I am giving on the same day, please finish on the same day itself, so that it will be easy for the next session. Okay. See, just be patient for 1 month. Our course is only for 1 month, right? Please spend time at least for 1 hour for 1 month. You will be see the difference between the day 1 and day 22 or day 23 about yourself, in yourself only. But you need to practice according to my instructions. Tomorrow I will give assignment. Okay. today please watch the video, please, and try to understand the terminologies what I used and how the flow works behind the scenes, what is an XML file. Please spend some time on it. Okay, thank you.